Hi, gang. I'm increasingly interested in voice control. I feel like for people interested in automating their Mac, there's some interesting stuff coming out of the Omni group. Voice control is an improved voice-to-text dictation, and I know it's an accessibility feature, but it's also much more for people that want to get a little bit better at using their computer. So I'm going to be covering that more increasingly in the labs going forward. One of the reasons why I think this is interesting is because with the arrival of the Vision Pro, I think you're going to be even more tempted to use your voice. Now, you don't see my dashing face today because I'm recording this on a beta machine and there's limitations and I don't have really a way to use the camera properly. So you'll just have to consider that I'm in my best looking outfit. In fact, I'm wearing a tuxedo today. I've never done it before for the labs, but you'll just have to take my word for it. Here we are in settings, and voice control is under accessibility. The first thing that has changed as we look at macOS Sonoma is they've got a guide now to kind of get you started. And this guide just walks you through the process of getting started, how it works. It gives you some dictation tutorials. And I've been playing with these, and they're really good. This helps me because I want you guys to start using this stuff. And one of the things I'll recommend once you install Sonoma is go ahead and get through that. They've got a getting started guide here where you can unlock dictation and get things going. Show numbers. Click 48. Now you can see that it's actively following my voice right now as I'm going through the tutorial, and it's giving me some voice control options. If I want to go to the next, click 51. Scroll down. Scroll up. Click 49. Scroll down. Scroll up. Click 51. Stop listening. Okay, at this point, it's turned the microphone off, so it doesn't hear anything I say. Start listening. 15. All right, I've finished the introductory guide. Let's continue. 15. Hello, comma, new line. How are you? Question mark. Stop listening. One of the things you'll note about voice control, in prior versions, they had a little icon that was always floating on the screen. That's not here, starting with Sonoma. I think that's actually probably a good thing. Click next page. Party pooper emoji. Undo that. Redo that. Click next page. Move to the beginning. Move right 3 words. Move left 4 characters. Move down 2 lines. Move up. Move to the beginning. Stop listening. This is just a great little tutorial to get you going with voice dictation. Even if you just use Siri, it gets you going. But the thing that you get with voice control is these edit commands that you don't get with Siri. Start listening. 16. Select previous 3 words. Select next 4 characters. Select all. Click next page. Select beautiful. Extend selection back 3 words. Extend selection 2 sentences. All right, I just took a break having finished the first 2 tutorials, and you can see in Bartender I've got the microphone icon for voice control down in the second bar. So I'm going to now move it up so it's closer here. I'll put it right next to the system setting, and that will make it easier to see what's going on. But you can see here I can wake it up, put it to sleep, change the microphone, whatever I need to do to make this work. I'm not going to do the text editing and navigation tutorials. I just wanted to give you an idea that these are there. As you can see, there's several of these, and I recommend you work through them if you decide to try and use voice control, because it does a good job of getting you started. Let's go back to the setting now. One of the things I like about voice control is that you can add a custom vocabulary. One of the things I don't like about it is that it doesn't seem to sync it through iCloud. I don't know why. I've got a whole custom vocabulary on my main machine. I'm just enabling on this one. So, for instance, the word MacSparky is something that it often gets confused on. As you guys know from the automatic dictations I do in the labs, often it is interpreted as Max, M-A-X, Barkey, B-A-R-K-E-Y. Several of you have told me I need to name my next dog MacSparky, but I like my current dog, so I'm not going to think about that. But let's go ahead and open TextEdit. Let's dictate something using voice control on the Mac, period. New paragraph. In this instance, I've switched over to the internal microphone on my MacBook Air, period. Previously, I was using my fancy podcasting microphone, and I didn't want you to think I had an unfair advantage, period. New paragraph. Let's see what it thinks of the word MacSparky, period. Well, comma, it figured it out but got the capitalization wrong. So now I'm going to switch over to the settings and fix that with a vocabulary entry, period. New paragraph. Go to sleep. All right, so now we'll go back up here to voice control settings and vocabulary and add the word MacSparky. And this is one of the things that Siri just doesn't support. With Siri dictation, you can't add custom words. I'll add one more here. MacSparky Labs, just so it gets everything right. You can also add proper names. I'll go ahead and add mine, although it would generally get my name right anyway. Okay, I've got some in there. One other thing I wanted to note that I like about the new version is I think they've done a better job of explaining commands. If you click on the commands list here and pick out a command, like dictation mode is something I'm generally working in. You go under here, it has a list of all the different characters that you can dictate in dictation mode. Semicolon, exclamation point. I had a problem earlier when I was doing quotes. I had open quote, but it wasn't getting close quote. And I see close quote as a command there, but it wasn't catching it. In the future, I'll try to use end quote instead. In fact, let's do that in our test too. All right, so I'll close this down. I'm going to wake it up with the command and get back to work in this dictation. Wake up. All right, comma, let's try some of the custom vocabulary terms we just added, period. New paragraph, MacSparky. New paragraph, MacSparky Labs. New paragraph, David Sparks. New paragraph. You can see it got them all right. Now let's see if I can figure out the quotation mark problem, period. New paragraph. I have a open quote problem, end quote, when it comes to buying Apple hardware, period. New paragraph. It did okay, but got the close quotation in the wrong spot, period. I could go back and fix that with my voice, but I find that to be tedious, period. As with all dictation, comma, I like to use it to get that draft in, but after that I will use the keyboard to go through and check things, period. I think Apple continues to push the ball forward on voice to text and voice control in general as a result of its general drive and desire to be good at accessibility features, period. However, comma, I think the arrival of the Vision Pro has added an extra degree of intensity, period. Up until now, using our voice to control our Macs has been a secondary interface, period. By that, comma, I mean that generally you're using the mouse and keyboard, and to switch to your voice requires a bit of a context or a mode switch, period. New paragraph. When you strap one of those Vision Pro thingies on your head, comma, I think the starting point will likely be your voice, period. In that case, going to the keyboard will require the mode shift, and you will be more inclined to want to use your voice more often, period. I fully expect Apple has figured that out, and that's why we're getting better tutorials and some better features with voice control, starting with Sonoma, period.